close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go.
All right. What is going on, everybody? I hope we're having a good one here. What is going on? It's Wednesday. We had tacos for Taco Tuesday. Seeing some good action this morning, though, out of the market. Tesla actually up in the green following their earnings. Elon said he's stepping away from Doge more next month. That's giving Tesla some positivity there. Glad to see that. SPY's up in the green pretty well, opening up all the way up above 540 today. It's actually using 540 as support here as the market opened. The 1 minute candles have a nice bounce going on at that 540 level. Really nice to see with the SPY. 541 resistance is the high of pre-market essentially. Now, it's not like that's a major resistance. I think the SPY could actually get through there fairly easily today. There we go, Rob. Waffle Wednesday. I was trying to think of something to say. I was like, I can't think anything besides Wacky Wednesday, but that sounds dumb. Man, SPY, it actually broke the high of pre-market already, which is good to see. Please, no surprise Trump speeches, Pew Pew said. Yeah, no surprises today. Watch it be something with China. You know, they'll come out and say, we're raising tariffs on China. Or China raised it on us, or who knows. That would be my main thought and worry there. Ivan Aaron Hernandez, good morning. Rook. David, RSB, TJ, Toby, Jamie. Good morning, Jamie. Go check Boeing real fast. They're coming back pretty well with their earnings. Popping up this morning. I was watching them in pre-market. Now that the market opened, they're sitting around 175. When am I not looking at Boeing, though? Always looking at Pony AI, 18%. That one came out of nowhere on my watch list. What the hell? Pony. Up 18%. I don't love the name of Pony, but we'll take the 18%, that's for sure. SERV, 13%. Seeing a lot of these growth stocks really popping off today. Tempest AI up another 12%, probably making Pelosi some money today. I wonder if she's still in. Probably so. I forgot her strike, actually. Go check on that real fast. I have Nancy Pelosi on speed dial. Purchase 50 call options with a strike price of 20. Okay. And an expiration of January 16th to 26. So a 20 strike, I mean, yeah, she's just going to probably let that expire and just take the shares. Go check Meta. Some of the Mag 7 here. Not bad today. Nvidia looking pretty solid. 105, but pulling back a bit since open. Overall, good price action on the morning, though. We'll see how much it pulls back here. It blasted through 100 last night. I thought 100 was amazing to see the breakout. That was fantastic. Looking at some Fed comments. Mussolini doesn't comment on rate outlook in a speech. Darn. Fed member there. Huncho. How do you like the music today? I went with no copyright sounds. Hoping that I don't get banned by the YouTube gods today. Tesla trying to bounce a little bit. Around 246, 245. I'm going to be watching this $2 range between 244 to 246. I can see a small bounce coming in within here. Somewhere like right here to right here. Jose just had one of their best trades. They bought a SPY 530 call yesterday morning for $240 and sold it at open for 11. So plus 860. Wow, nice. Not pushing my luck for more though. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't blame you. You know, the SPY did really well. You had a great move there. I think it's a good thing to take some profits. That was a great move by the SPY. Whoa, what the hell? Whoa. Whoa! Whoa! Holy! Let's go check the economic calendar today. What the? PMI? I thought that came, yeah, that comes out in like 15 minutes. Looking for the news though. Trump says he's suing Perkins Coie. I'm really scanning the news here. Waller does not comment on outlook for monetary policy or the economy, welcoming in remarks to the Fed Listens event. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. White House considering slashing China tariffs. Whoa. There we go. White House considering slashing China tariffs to de-escalate trade war. Wow, finally it hit. White House considers slashing China tariffs to de-escalate trade war. And then the SPY pulls back super quick off that green candle. I knew there was something there. That was too big of a move. Drinking on the yellow Gatorade today. Lemon lime. Probably my favorite. Trump's cutting tariffs a bit. Let's see. We're seeing a whole bunch here. Consider slashing it. White House is weighing a plan to cut tariffs on Chinese goods. Potentially slashing some by more than half to help de-escalate trade tensions. While President Trump hasn't made a final call, options under review include a tiered system with lower rates on non-strategic imports. Nice. Someone said Trump will call it fake news. I know. I'm worried about that. Yeah, somebody said Trump's gonna call it fake news, but then actually do it on Friday. Yeah. Yep. That's pretty huge. SPY trying to move a little bit off of it. Kind of digesting it, though. That initial candle was great. Tesla started bouncing back off support there, too, which was a good sign. Nvidia trying to move up. 105 coming back into play. $105. That is pretty huge. 105. If we could break that today on Nvidia, that would be beautiful. Apparently, it came out that Trump decided not to fire Powell because of Lutnick and Besant raising concerns. Apparently, White House lawyers were actually studying legal options to get rid of Powell. That's pretty funny. I think we already knew that mainly, but I guess it's good to get some clarity. Feels so contrived, yeah. Hell yeah, Jose. Per Walter Bloomberg, yeah. Jose goes, whoa. Whoa, whoa. I want to see some better action, though, I'll tell you. Come on, SPY. Get that push up. $5.45 came into play there and still hasn't got anything going since. I'm really eyeing up these headlines here. Let's switch over to the Mag 7 chart. Wow, Nvidia. Apple bouncing off 205 up to around 207.50. They look pretty great here. Really, Apple? They look better than most of the Mag 7. Maybe it'll go for a 210 run. That's the main level I'm watching for past here. With Apple. We can see, oh wow, 208.50 to 209 actually had a lot of rejection as well, but I do like 210. Ivan said SPY. Scalped a put, and now I'm on a call, riding momentum / market direction. Nice. See if SPY moves a bit. We did get that PMI coming out here. The S&P Composite PMI, Services PMI, Manufacturing PMI. It's like SPY's not moving too much off that. I didn't think that SPY was going to move much off of that, but we'll see. Kevin said Bitcoin, BTC, USD. A whole bunch of people on Twitter, Clow. Bitcoin's actually pulling back a little. Kinda sucks. I thought the SPY'd be moving up a little bit. There we go, SPY. Come on, 545. Let's make that push. Continue up with this nice bullish action. 3% into the green right now on SPY. I didn't realize it was up that much today. I guess that after hours jump was that significant, huh? Hell yeah, Travis, MU. Bumping. I know sometimes the big money seems like an awfully big coincidence, right? Of course, sometimes with the big money trades, we don't know if they're shorting or longing them really, but in this case, it looks pretty clear. Somebody said Intel announced a staffing cut. Let me check that. Oh yeah, there you go. 20% of their workforce, okay. They're starting to move pretty well. The chop's killing you, man. Come on, SPY, let's keep going with this China action. Apparently, China said that they support Iran's nuclear talks with the US. That's good. I know, right, Horde? Came back and said, I'm not gonna fire Powell. I was like, really? Here's a big thing. Basent is gonna be speaking in 15 minutes. at the speaking at 10 a.m. on State of Financial System. That'll be pretty huge. Percent has been causing a lot of action lately. He's so wishy-washy, I shouldn't... Yeah. A lot of back and forths lately. We got to keep in mind that a lot of the back and forth is kind of strategy, too. Now, with Powell, I'm not so sure, but maybe applying pressure or something, not sure. I do think that would be a fairly bad look if he pushed Powell out, but... I'm definitely going to try to find Basent, by the way, as well, whenever he speaks, of course. Have it live here. Hopefully we get a live link. Not quite sure if we're going to be getting a live link like that or not. Go check QQQ. 462, new high of the day on the QQQ there. SPY is also a high of the day, technically. Barely, but... testing high of the day. Let's see if we can get a breakout going. Looks like it's rejecting pretty hard here. But a lot of volatility. This candle could easily reverse back up. Guess the market's gonna wait for Basent's comments here. Seven minutes out. Curious on what anyone thinks about TTD in the next month or so. Earnings in early May. The trade desk. Let's check it. Go look at the daily. There was a big money play on this one in the past. It's actually about to expire. Let's see. It was the 55 strike calls. Entered on March 20th. I haven't checked that one in a while. Maybe they exited. I doubt it, but... TTD coming back pretty well here. It looks pretty good off this dip. Especially if we start to see the market moving. I think it'd be pretty awesome. I think TTD looks great in a better sense for shares. I think getting shares down here around support would be pretty awesome. $40 is huge on the trade desk. If it falls under there, you can cut pretty quick, but I like averaging into shares down here on TTD. Earnings coming up. You do have that earnings risk, of course, but we start to see stocks recover up off these dips, like let's say on some China negotiations or something. That would be pretty awesome. TTD would be one that I could see following the SPY back up. Pretty good correlation to SPY, right? Moderate. Not the best over the past year, I guess. Used to be better. Yuli said, I think he wanted Powell out but couldn't do it. There was actually an update today from the Wall Street Journal that said that they were exploring legal options to actually get Powell out, but they ended up not doing it because Trump looked at Besant and Lutnick's concerns, apparently. But it was said that apparently Trump had a team exploring legal options to get rid of him. So they were exploring. Like you said, maybe they found out that you couldn't, but... Rejection, yeah. Pretty big rejection on SPY. Double top. 545. Wow. Robbie out here crushing some SPY puts. There we go, Robbie. Clow, I said it's people on Twitter, Clow. Go on Twitter, looking like Walter Bloomberg, Zero Hedge, Financial Juice. There's a lot of them. Go to like Walter Bloomberg and look at people he follows and follow them. I think that's the easiest way. Glad to get some SPY prints, David C said. Let's go. Hell yeah. The timing with Tesla earnings seems too much of a coincidence to me, but that's getting conspiracy. Yeah, you know, they schedule earnings. They're like pretty much required to report them every quarter, so. The date can change a little bit, of course, but the big boys usually confirm them pretty early. It's all on Twitter, Clow. Nothing on Instagram. All right, I got the Besant stream here. Starting in just a minute or so. Pretty green heat map so far this morning. See what Besant says about the economy here. This might get SPY going again. Kalo. Yeah, you gotta fix that name, man. It looks like Clow. Or Clo. But Kalo, okay. Kalo, I like it. Kalo sounds better. Way better. Kalo. Is that something from like underscore vision, is that something from like a game? I know everybody used to do vision or something like that when I used to play. Tesla bouncing around 244. Let's see if Tesla can find a base. It's starting to try to form one here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people looking to buy the dip. Buying the dip. You guys know.
Oh man, your boy Kevin just lost lots of money. Oh, but that's okay.
Anyone buying the dip on Tesla?
Oh man, your boy Kevin just
Ahead of Basent?
Oh, but that's okay. I am with you. Here we go. Come on, push it. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Here we go. Come on, push it. Buy the dip.
244 breaks down. It's going to get scary. Oh my God, SPY. Another wild candle.
All this whining by Wall Street is making me sick. 140% of GameStop was short. GameStop was short. You can't allow Wall Street to short 75% of a stock, crush these companies into the dirt, thousands of stocks into the dirt. Then when the individual makes money, everyone's entrepreneurs. I have a kid who bought a house, paid $50,000 and bought a house. After decades of the shorts, you have to accept the fact that individual investors are playing the same game that you're playing, and now you're losing.
Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go, come on, push it, buy the dip, buy the dip. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I knew you guys would like this song. There we go.
Here we go, come on, push it, buy the
Oh, videography. Okay, that's cool.
come on, push it, buy the dip. Here we go, come on.
Head and Shoulders 5 and 1.
Here we go, come on, push it.
The song needs to go.
There's a lot of power in organizations online.
Short the dip, Ivan said.
Subreddit. I think it's really funny that the GameStop stock is
Can
going
Basent
up
be a hero?
much in that way. There's 20,000 people live
Are they
in
coming on?
Discord who are spamming rocket emojis, yelling, "Go to the moon."
All right, let's see here.
Sworn in as the 79th Secretary of the Treasury of the United States. As Secretary, Mr. Besant is responsible for the
Besant.
U.S. Treasury's wide-ranging mission to maintain a
course I
strong
say
economy,
it wrong.
foster economic growth, and create job opportunities for all Americans by promoting the conditions that enable prosperity at home and abroad, as well as managing the U.S. government's finances. He is also responsible for strengthening U.S. national security by combating economic threats and protecting the financial system. Mr. Besant has been in the global investment management business for 40 years, visiting 60 countries, interacting with international leaders and central bankers. He is regarded as a currency and fixed income specialist. Mr. Besant is also a frequent contributor to economic journals and business publications. Secretary Besant will deliver keynote remarks followed by an in-conversation session with Tim Adams, who will join the Secretary on stage shortly after. Secretary Besant, the stage is yours.
Let's go. All right, let's see how this SPY goes here.
Good, and thank you. Excuse me. Good, and thank you for that kind introduction. It's an honor to be here. In the final months of World War II, Western leaders convened the greatest economic minds of their generation. Their task? To build a new financial system. At a quiet resort high up in the mountains of New Hampshire, they laid the foundation for Pax Americana. The architects of Bretton Woods recognized that a global economy required global coordination. To encourage that coordination, they created the IMF and the World Bank. These twin institutions were born after a period of intense geopolitical and economic volatility. The purpose of the IMF and the World Bank was to better align national interest with international order, thereby bringing stability to an unstable world. In short, their purpose was to restore and preserve balance. This remains the purpose of the Bretton Woods institutions. Yet everywhere we look across the international system today, we see imbalance. The good news, it doesn't have to be this way. My goal this morning is to outline a blueprint to restore equilibrium to the global financial system and the institutions designed to uphold it. I have spent the bulk of my career from the outside looking in on financial policy circles. Now I am on the inside looking out. I am eager to work with each of you to restore order to the international system. To achieve this, however, we must first reconstruct the IMF and World Bank reconnect the IMF and the World Bank with their founding missions. The IMF and World Bank have enduring value, but mission creep has knocked these institutions off course. We must enact key reforms to ensure the Bretton Woods institutions are serving their stakeholders, not the other way around. Bringing balance back to global finance will require clear-eyed leadership from the IMF and World Bank. This morning, I will explain how they can provide that leadership to build safer, stronger, and more prosperous economies all around the world. I wish to invite my international counterparts to join us in working toward these goals. On this point, I wish to be clear. America first does not mean America alone. To the contrary, it is a call for deeper collaboration and mutual respect among trade partners. Far from stepping back, America First seeks to expand U.S. leadership in international institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. By embracing a stronger leadership role, America First seeks to restore fairness to the international economic system. Nowhere is the imbalance I mentioned earlier more obvious than in the world of trade. That's why the United States is taking action now to rebalance global commerce. For decades, successive administrations relied on faulty assumptions that our trading partners would implement policies that would drive a balanced global economy. Instead, we face the stark reality of large and persistent U.S. deficits as a result of an unfair trading system. Intentional policy choices by other countries have hollowed out America's manufacturing sector and undermined our critical supply chains, putting our national and economic security at risk. President Trump has taken strong actions to address these imbalances and the negative impacts they have on Americans. This status quo of large and persistent imbalances is not sustainable. It is not sustainable for the United States, and ultimately, it is not sustainable for other economies. Now, I know sustainability is a popular term around here, but I'm not talking about climate change or carbon footprints. I'm talking about economic and financial stability, the kind of sustainability that raises standards of living and keeps markets afloat. International financial institutions must be singularly focused on upholding this kind of sustainability if they are to succeed in their missions. In response to President Trump's tariff announcements, more than 100 countries have approached us, wanting to help rebalance global trade. These countries have responded openly and positively to the President's actions to create a more balanced international system. We are engaged in meaningful discussions and look forward to talking with others. China in particular is in need of a rebalancing. Recent data shows the Chinese economy tilting even further away from consumption toward manufacturing. China's economic system, with growth driven by manufacturing exports, will continue to create even more serious imbalances with its trading partners if the status quo is allowed to continue. China's current economic model is built on exporting its way out of its economic troubles. It's an unsustainable model that is not only harming China, but the entire world. China needs to change. The country knows it needs to change, Everyone knows it needs to change, and we want to help it change because we need rebalancing too. China can start by moving its economy away from export overcapacity and towards supporting its own consumers and domestic demand. Such a shift would help with global rebalancing that the world desperately needs. Of course, trade is not the only factor in broader global economic imbalances. The persistent over-reliance on the United States for demand is resulting in an ever more unbalanced global economy. Some countries' policies encourage excess savings, which holds back private sector-led growth. Others keep wages artificially depressed, which also suppresses growth. These practices contribute to global dependence on U.S. demand to spur growth. They also lead to a global economy that is weaker and more vulnerable than it should be. In Europe, former ECB President Mario Draghi has identified several sources of stagnation, and he has outlined several recommendations to get the European economy back on the right track. European countries would do well to take his recommendations to heart. Europe has already taken some long overdue initial steps that I applaud. These steps create a new source of global demand and also involve Europe stepping up on the security front. I believe global economic relationships should come to reflect security partnerships. Security partners are more likely to have compatible economies structured for mutually beneficial trade. If the United States continues offering security guarantees and open markets, then our allies must step up with stronger commitments to shared defense. The initial actions from Europe on increased fiscal and defense spending are proof that the Trump administration's policies are indeed working. The Trump administration and the U.S. Treasury are committed to maintaining and expanding U.S. economic leadership in the world. This is especially true at the international financial institutions. The IMF and World Bank serve critical roles in the international system, and the Trump administration is eager to work with them so long as they can stay true to their missions. And under the status quo, they are falling short. The Bretton Woods institutions must step back from their sprawling and unfocused agendas, which have stifled their ability to deliver on their core mandates. Going forward, the Trump administration will leverage U.S. leadership and influence at these institutions and push them to accomplish their very important mandates. The United States will also demand that the management and staffs of these institutions be accountable for demonstrating real progress. I invite all of you to join us in working to refocus these institutions on their core missions. It is in our collective interest to do so. The IMF. First, we must make the IMF again. The IMF's mission is to promote international monetary cooperation, facilitate the balanced growth of international trade, encourage economic growth, and discourage harmful policies like competitive exchange rate depreciation. These are crucially important functions to support the U.S. and global economies. Instead, the IMF has suffered from mission creep. The IMF was once unwavering in its mission of promoting global monetary cooperation and financial stability. Now it devotes disproportionate time and resources to work on climate change, gender, and social issues. These issues are not the IMF's mission. And the IMF's focus in these areas is crowding out its work on critical macroeconomic issues. The IMF must be a brutal truth teller and not just to some members. Today, the IMF has been whistling past the graveyard. Its 2024 external sector report was entitled Imbalances Receding. This Pollyannish outlook is symptomatic of an institution more dedicated to preserving the status quo than answering the hard questions. Here in the United States, we know we need to get our fiscal house in order. The last administration ran up the largest peacetime deficit in our nation's history. The current administration is committed to fixing this. We are open to critique, but we will not abide the IMF failing to critique the countries that most need it, principally surplus countries. In line with its core mandate, the IMF needs to call out countries like China that have pursued globally distorted policies and opaque currency practices for many decades. I also expect the IMF to call out unsustainable lending practices by certain creditor countries. The IMF should push more proactively official bilateral lenders to come to the table early to work with borrower countries to minimize periods of debt distress. The IMF must refocus its lending on addressing balance of payment problems, and its lending should be temporary. When done responsibly, IMF lending is at the very core of its contribution to the global economy. When markets fail, the IMF steps in and makes resources available. In exchange, countries implement economic reforms to resolve their balance of payments issues and support economic growth. The reforms undertaken during these programs are some of the IMF's most important contributions to a strong, sustainable, and balanced global economy. Argentina is a fitting example. I was in Argentina earlier this month to demonstrate the United States' support for the IMF efforts to help the country reset financially. Argentina deserves the IMF support because the country is making real progress toward meeting financial benchmarks, but not every country is so deserving. The IMF must hold countries accountable for implementing economic reforms, and sometimes the IMF needs to say no. The organization has no obligation to lend to countries that fail to implement reforms. Economic stability and growth should be the markers of the IMF's success, not how much money the institution lends out. World Bank. Like the IMF, the World Bank must be made fit for purpose again. The World Bank Group helps developing countries grow their economies, reduce poverty, increase private investment support, private sector job creation, and reduce dependence on foreign aid. It offers transparent and affordable long-term financing for countries to invest in their own development priorities. The bank, along with the fund, provides extensive technical support to promote debt sustainability among low-income countries, which empowers those countries to stand up to coercive and opaque lending terms from other creditors. These core functions of the World Bank complement the Trump administration's efforts to foster safer, stronger, and more prosperous economies in the United States and the world. But the bank, like the IMF, has strayed in certain respects from its initial mission. The bank should no longer expect blank checks for vapid, buzzword-centric marketing accompanied by half-hearted commitments to reform. As the bank returns to its core mission, it must use its resources as efficiently and effectively as possible, and it must do so in ways that demonstrate tangible values for all member countries. The bank can use its resources more efficiently now by focusing on increasing energy access. Business leaders the world over identify unreliable power supply as one of the primary impediments to investment. The World Bank and African Development Bank's Joint Mission 300 initiative to expand energy access to 300 million more people in Africa is a welcome effort. But the World Bank must respond to countries' energy priorities and needs and focus on dependable technologies that can sustain economic growth rather than seek to meet distortionary climate finance targets. We applaud the recent announcement that the World Bank will seek to remove prohibitions on support for nuclear energy, which could revolutionize energy supply for many emerging markets. We encourage the bank to go further in giving countries access to all technologies that can provide affordable baseload generation. The World Bank must be tech neutral and prioritize affordability in energy investment. In most cases, this means investing in gas and other fossil fuel-based energy production. In other cases, this may mean investing in renewable energy coupled with systems to help manage the intermittency of wind and solar. The history of humanity teaches a simple lesson. Energy abundance sparks economic abundance. That's why the bank should encourage an all-of-the-above approach to energy development. Such an approach will make World Bank financing more effective, and it will reconnect the bank to its core mission of economic growth and poverty alleviation. In addition to increasing energy access, the World Bank can use its resources more effectively by starting to apply its graduation policy. This would allow the bank to focus on lending to poorer, less creditworthy countries. This is where World Bank support makes the biggest difference for poverty and growth. Instead, the World Bank continues to lend every year to countries that have met the criteria to graduate from World Bank borrowing. There is no justification for this continued lending. It siphons off resources from higher priorities and crowds out the development of private markets. It also disincentivizes countries' efforts to move away from dependency on the World Bank and toward job-rich, private sector-led growth. Going forward, the bank must set firm graduation timelines for countries that have long since met the graduation criteria. Treating China, the second largest country in the world, as a developing country is absurd. While it has been at the expense of many Western markets, China's rise has been rapid and impressive. If China wants to play a role in the global economy commensurate with its actual importance, then the country needs to graduate up. We welcome that. The World Bank should also implement transparent procurement policies based on best value. It must help countries move away from procurement approaches that prioritize only the lowest cost bids. Such procurement policies reward distortive and subsidized industrial policies that undermine development. They may also stifle the private sector and incentivize corruption and collusion and result in greater long-term cost. Procurement policies based on best value are better from both an efficiency and development perspective, and their robust implementation will benefit the bank and its shareholders. Related to this subject, I wish to send a strong, and I emphasize strong, message about procurement policies as regards Ukraine. No one who financed or supplied the Russian war machine will be eligible for funds earmarked for Ukraine's reconstruction. No one. To conclude, I invite our allies to work with us as we rebalance the international financial system, refocus the IMF and World Bank on their founding charters. America First means we are doubling down on our engagement with the international economic system, including at the IMF and the World Bank. A more sustainable economic system will be one that better serves the interests of the United States and all the other participants in the system. We look forward to working with all of you in this endeavor. Thank you.
Oh my God, what a snooze fest. My gosh. Do we even listen to this?
Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us here today, and thank all of you for coming here today. I'm going to point out you have many great lines in this very meaty, comprehensive set of remarks, but you say, I wish to be clear, America first does not mean America alone. To the contrary, far from stepping back, you seek to expand U.S. leadership in international institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. I must say there's a collective sigh of relief across this town right now, because the concern coming into this week is that you were going to do exactly what you said you're not going to do, which is the U.S. would withdraw. But you want to lead. What you're asking for is simply getting back to factory settings, right?
Yeah, this is getting pretty cut and dry, guys. Pretty boring. You know, if we get any headlines from it, I'll definitely shoot them your guys' way. Don't worry about that. I always have the headlines here on the side of the screen, so you know, don't forget about that, of course. But let's go. What's up? He said meaty. Yeah, meaty. Very rough, very boring. The SPY did nothing but fall during that time. I will say, though, I guess the good thing is that the SPY looks like it got this little pullback out of its system. Maybe we'll be getting a nice move back to the upside here. I do like the way that it's starting to recover up off this 541 support. Love the way it's setting up here today. Pretty bullish overall, 3%. The question is, will we get the continuation? And, you know, this is definitely the next try here. See if we can get it done. There's been like this trend of like wicks getting a little bit lower here around 545 to 544, and you can see it's like a slight little trend down right there, but we'll see if it can start to shift a little bit. Maybe we can start to break that trend, get some better PA coming into play. Tesla's really coming up off that dip. Remember that buy in the dip song I played? And some of you guys liked it, some didn't, but Tesla doing really well on that dip. Ended up holding 244 in a great way. Great way right there, Tesla. Fantastic recovery. If Besant wasn't talking, I would have been watching Tesla, that's for sure. Let's go check NVIDIA, bouncing a little bit, 102.60, very nice. A lot of good price action across the board here. Advanced Micro Devices. There we go. Let's look at the Mag 7 setup. Pretty bullish overall. A lot of green. Apple is pretty good this morning. I'm still keeping an eye on them. They look like they're trying to go for another run here. ROC crushed it today. Just kidding, Rock. Glad you crushed it, though. That's awesome. This guy's a blabber like their boss. 3,200. Hey, there we go. That's what we want to hear.
All right, all right, all right.
We'll get some claps for that one. Pretty good. Great one, Rock. Can you explain again how you see the Pelosi or other key individuals' trades, David said. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let me go to Capital Trades. I just go to capitaltrades.com and it tells you the latest trades here, and you can click view all. So every day you see these. Now, I follow people on Twitter or X who follow Pelosi. Like, there's a Nancy Pelosi tracker. And of course, if Pelosi files something, people see it. You know, people see it nowadays. People generally don't miss it. Damn, this Michael McCall made so many damn trades recently. I don't know if that is that guy famous for trading a lot or something. My God. Bruce Westerman. These guys are all probably trying to do all these trades before they ban Congress from trading. Look, it's Tim Moore. Hey, I'm pretty sure that this is the guy. Those of you that have watched for a while, one time it wasn't Charles Schwab. It was TD Ameritrade at the time, Thinkorswim. they sent me a letter, and I had to clarify that I wasn't related to some member of Congress with the last name Moore. And I wonder if it was this one. It could have been. I don't know how long this guy has been in there, but... Oh, and it says only 2025 to 27. It must not have been him, but... There was... It scared me. I was like, what the hell? Why? I thought you were going to tell us he was related. Hell no. See, that would have been a problem, apparently. They were like... They had to, like, make sure I wasn't related or something. I was like, what? Thought it was wild. Boeing bouncing around 170. Plus, I'm a junior, so it's kind of funny. I'm like, well, that guy doesn't even have my name, so how could that be? How could I be a junior if he's my dad? What the hell? U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent said if China is serious about rebalancing, the U.S. can balance. Opportunity for big deal between U.S. and China. Uh-oh. He said, opportunity for a big deal between U.S. and China. We'll see if that gets it moving a little bit. Trump to reorder trading system is a start of engagement with China. Okay. All right. Nothing too crazy, but... China will come to the realization that it needs economic change. Sometimes it takes external push. There is opportunity for big deal here. All right. I know OPEC Plus said they're considering another oil output for June, an accelerated oil output, that is. I found that to be interesting. I was looking at crude oil when that news came out, and crude oil tanked. For those of our oil traders out there, OPEC Plus is a huge conglomeration of many countries. It's kind of wild. They get together and then they all decide what they're going to do with oil, and it kind of impacts the oil prices. It kind of sucks. Impacts the oil prices. You know, I saw an article one time whenever I was a new trader, and this was a long time ago. It might have even been in a book about commodities. I read that the conglomeration of OPEC and OPEC Plus is essentially like, if you think about it, it's illegal. You know, in the US, you know how, like, what if we just said a lot of the oil producers in the US all work together to impact the price of oil, and they all did the same thing? It would be pretty funny, right? You know, they would probably get in a lot of legal trouble, you know? But at the end of the day, these countries get together and they do it. I'm surprised people don't get, you know, a little bit more, like, mad at those countries, especially whenever they make the oil prices fly. You know, obviously right now, they're kind of bringing them down a bit with this news, so it's kind of welcome. But, like, let's say oil was flying and then they were keeping prices high or something, then, you know, then it'd be a little bit of a worry there. Because these oil-producing countries make a lot of money from that. Isn't oil down bad in the long term? Because it shows lack of future demand in the industry. I wouldn't say it's down because of that, necessarily. Oil fluctuates a lot, as we can see. If we go back on even a weekly, you know, we can see the prices fluctuate quite a bit. If we go back pretty far, I would say it's up quite a bit from, like, the 90s. But, you know, it has periods where it gets up to, like, 100 to 120 a barrel, and then it has periods where it stays mainly around 65 to 80. It's been like that since around 2009. You know, a lot of chop in these zones here with crude oil. I wouldn't say though it's falling because of like falling demand or anything like that necessarily yet. That is something in the future that people definitely worry about a little bit, for sure. But for right now, I would say that's not the case. OPEC Plus, they accelerated an oil output at the beginning of April. Now we're getting to May, and if they do it again, so like whenever they accelerated that oil output before, this is the price action that ensued. So on this May 5th meeting that they're doing, if they do that again, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking for a rejection at this resistance and like another like subsequent move similar to that last one whenever they accelerated. Now, this acceleration might not surprise people as much. Maybe it'll surprise them more. You know, we'll see how it goes. And again, it's not even like that they're for sure doing it yet. It's just they're talking about it. But if they do accelerate that output, it could be bad for crude here. But hey, good for us this summer at the pump. I'll say I'm going to be driving my Hellcat balls to the wall, as they say. If oil prices drop a little bit. That car is pretty crazy, though, I'll tell you. You could go through a tank of gas, it seems like, in like an hour or two. You're just driving nonstop. I think we need to break 545. Look at QQQ going here. QQQ is getting it done. SPY is not above the high of day yet, but QQQ is exploding. Nice and explosive. Shows tech is on fire. Hey, what's up, Hugh? They were good. You're gonna laugh at me though, Hugh. I ended up getting these tacos. I ended up getting the Jack in the Box tacos. Uh-oh. It was like 10 p.m. and it was like the only thing open around me. I was like, oh. It was either that or Taco Bell, and I chose Jack in the Box. A good classic for me. If I have a heart attack sometime in the next week, you can blame the tacos. Those things are terrible, aren't they? Yeah, I knew you guys would get a kick out of those. You know, Jack in the Box tacos are just so nostalgic for me, because whenever I was like 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, 19 even, all as I did was play baseball like all summer long. Like I had like 50 to 60 games like every summer throughout every one of those years. And I would get Jack in the Box tacos all the time, because if I had a game that went late or something like that, Jack in the Box was always open. It was close to the house. And it was a good mix from the Taco Bell. So I was like, okay, we'll go there to mix it up sometimes. But man, summertime Jack in the Box tacos just hit. Any taco greater than no taco. Hellcat and Jack in the Box tacos, that's right. Palantir explosive here, 9.3% today. Up above $100 this morning. It actually dipped and then bounced right off 100. Probably whenever Besant was speaking. That clown. No, I'm just kidding. He's not a clown. Just so you guys know, I switched my charts to Eastern time, just so that you guys are aware. For those of you that follow the streams and that have watched for a while, at the bottom here, I don't know if you've noticed that or not today, but I've switched the time to Eastern. Now, I'm sure it's hard to see for a lot of you guys, but Yeah. He's not a clown, but he clowned us today, Shane. I wanted some action, and no action from Besant. He's still talking, though. Tom, do you have Jack stock for nostalgic reasons? I actually don't. I don't have Jack. You know, I've had like 4 Jack in the Boxes go out of business around me. I'm not surprised to see their stock doing this. At least the one by my house didn't, but... Man, Jack in the crack. I don't know if I could buy this one. It's scaring me. It's at Lowe's, but it's pretty close to Lowe's anyways. I mean, close enough. But man, it's a scary one. I don't know if I could grab it. I'd have to look into them, and I'm guessing I'm gonna find some bad stuff whenever I start looking into their fundamentals. I don't like buying stocks for nostalgic reasons, but I do like buying food. Although I will say in a few years, DraftKings will probably be pretty nostalgic for me. Speaking of DraftKings, you know, they've actually been holding this $30 support pretty well on the daily chart. Had a big money play 13 days ago on it. On the 10th. Coming back well now, holding support. That's awesome. Let's short Jack in the Box as a team. Not as a team, but... Honestly, though, as a potential short, not really it's not a bad thought if it pops up. I will say in the short term, it seems like it's trying to form a base here, so let's say that it does happen to recover a little bit. It might provide some opportunity at some point. Maybe over the next, like, 2 months or month. Besant's done. Risk reward looks scary. Yeah. SPY rejecting a little bit here. 545. Sorry, guys. I needed to down some Gatorade there. I don't know if y'all were expecting from the Secretary of Treasury. Show me what Yellen pumped the market. Yeah, I feel you, Sean. Yellen, you know, she did move the market a little bit with some of her comments. I do remember that. It was mainly like whenever she first got in, but not much. Not much at all, that's for sure. I'll short it with the taco in hand, brother. Watching and chewing the taco down to downside. There we go. I'm surprised that, you know, who owns Taco Bell? It's Yum, right? Yup, they own it. The Taco Bell is a subsidiary of Yum along with KFC and Pizza Hut. PepsiCo divested them in 1997 and they consolidated as Yum. Yum Brands. Look at the daily here. Dipping pretty hard. Apparently it says they're the world's largest restaurant company. Look at some of these stats here. Wow. 1,500 franchises, 1 million employees, 61,000 restaurants, 155 countries, territories. New restaurant opens approximately every 2 hours. I wonder what McDonald's stats would look like this. You're telling me they're larger than McDonald's? That sounds crazy. Nation said if they got rid of KFC and Pizza Hut and went solo with Taco Bell, it would be a beast. Yeah, maybe they should do that. What is Habit? I've never heard of Habit. Burger and Grill? Okay. I'm getting hungry. Let's check that hourly though. Not the best PA in the short term, you know, with Yum falling back a little bit. All right, back to the SPY we go. Still consolidating, really, SPY. I could see it popping up and breaking soon though. Watch for it to consolidate here and bounce somewhere off support and get going. You know, that wick is pretty good here. Sean said Taco Bell sucks. Oh, man. You really think that they suck? Wow. I'll say, you know, it's not my favorite overall, but I have a few things that I like. You know, their nachos are pretty solid. I like their tacos. I think that their tacos, like just hard shell tacos, great. I love them. I think they're great. I love those Doritos ones too. And then I like their quesadillas, but I don't love everything. I don't love the burritos. Y'all just don't know about Taco John's. Ooh, that sounds good. Nation says 3 words. Cheesy Gordita Crunch. You know, what's funny is I've only had like one of those like my whole life. I think every state has its own big food chain. Florida, for example, Pollo Tropical, or Texas is Whataburger. I don't know what the hell Missouri has. Missouri has Panera Bread. I think that's it. Tessie's consolidating hard here at 258 to 260. Looks like it wants to try to go for a run though again. 258 is going to come into focus. Watch SPY on this dip. It could get fun as we start to see a good pop and actual breakout happen. JP Morgan says we expect decreased foreign travel spending will likely deduct around 0.1% from US GDP this year. Boeing CEO just said, many customers in China have indicated they will not take delivery of jets. Besson said, more than 100 countries have approached us wanting to help rebalance global trade. There we go.
It's the first time of today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot.
Spy rejected there for a second, Demir said. Yeah, it did. Pulling back pretty hard.
You're a superhero.
Getting pretty brutal. I don't like to see that. I'm definitely going to be watching this trend as we get closer to it with the SPY. If it holds the trend, it'll be interesting. Silver's exploding. Look at that. 3.5%. Wow. That's a pretty good pop by silver here. All right, I'm taking a break. I lost almost 300 this morning, Demir said. Need breakfast. See you later, Demir. Get some good food in you. Nice omelet today. Man, SPY. I still like the prospect of it potentially breaking out more today, but it might take a while. I need Tilray, Sean said. We could all use a little Tilray. Go check CGC. I wonder how Tilray looks today. Probably terrible. Not too bad. MSOS has been where it's at lately whenever the movement starts happening. It's weird. The ETF is moving. Jerry says Tesla. Everybody loves Tesla. Always a fun one here. I love the way Tesla's actually holding its ground. Looks pretty awesome. Good hold. $255. There we go. As long as it keeps holding there, it's a good bullish sign. Maybe you can get the SPY coming back a little bit. want to check silver on the daily. You think gold found a bottom, Relatable said? GOLD, Barrick Gold. GOLD. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it pulled back a bit more, honestly. I know silver did pretty well, but gold's actually dropping a little bit here, which is kind of nuts. I could see gold moving down. You know, we had some good charts last night. Looking at gold, I believe this is the one. Gold looks pretty bad a few days later following being 25% above the 200-day moving average. In almost all scenarios, there's some red. I guess January 10th, 1983 is the only one that wasn't really that bad. All the rest had at least some bad readings. At some point. I guess 1972 wasn't that bad either. But yeah, most of the time. On the 2 days later, it's only green. Or it's only, yeah, only green 14% of the time. That's insane. 76%. Sorry, 86% of the time in the red. Don't know what I was thinking. GLD. Little resistance here, 304 it looks like intraday. Nothing crazy there. Back to the SPY, still rejecting. Yeah, it's hurting, David, it's hurting. Do you have some puts? Yeah, Chris says, please with the trend line. Or cries. I think MSTR is testing a bottom, AK said. I really like this level here, 344, 345. I have it as support. That was a perfect top back in March. It broke above that actually last night. Pretty good to see. Crizex. I like it. Crizex. That's cool. Crizex Jr. Sounds like a race car driver. or a boxer or something. MicroStrategy. Let's check out Coinbase here. 196. Oh, that's cool. Crizex. Coin 196. If this breaks down here much more, it's going to start to look pretty rough. Getting under the range here. Little sell-off ensuing. SPY's gonna have some trouble with this trend. Let's see if it holds. It's getting close. Rise Up Lights. So MSTY or CoinY. You know, I don't really look at those too much. Option Income Strategy ETF. I don't even have a CoinY. Weird, okay. MSTY. You know, it seems like it's actually at a decent spot. Like, if we do start to see MSTR pick up, MSTY will move probably very well to the upside. Don't get me wrong there. Don't get me wrong there. That's not what I'm trying to say, but I generally just look at MicroStrategy itself. I don't really look at these other ETFs like MSTY and stuff like that in those ways. Oh, it's CONY. Gotcha. Yeah, if you catch these at the right time, they can be pretty awesome, but you have to be really good with timing on these. And normally people aren't very good with timing. That's the problem. Trump said EU, China ripping the US off. I haven't heard this song in a long time. Said it could be holding strong on this position. And then said, never mind, it broke. It didn't really break yet. It's close. But it's going to need to really push under that low of the day first. Oh, wow. SPY with a big red candle there. Reacting pretty strangely at the trend. I think it's Trump with all this news. He said China's ripping the US off. He said we're going to make a lot of money for our people. We will have a fair trade deal with China. We're going to have fair deals with China again. That's pretty much all I'm seeing there.
Like a Hellcat.
I haven't heard this song in years. That's like a classic non-copyright song there. Trump's talking, Ivan said.
President Trump's second term. Just some of your thoughts on
Damn. He's probably talking, but just not like... Not like live. Go check Citigroup, Bank of America. I can't find the Trump stream. Looking at some banks here. Let's look at how they've been doing the past few days, because I know that they've been dipping quite a bit, and they're starting to come back. Bank of America looks pretty solid. It's trying to fill the gap on the daily charts. Actually really close. Reacting around $40 today. Kind of nuts. Tesla 257. He's having an intelligence briefing. It's closed press. Gotcha. Oh, I actually just saw he just ended the remarks to the reporters, apparently. Hit the headline. Tesla 258. What a resistance here on Tesla. That's a big level. 258.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze.
Come on, Tessie, you've been holding pretty well here.
Can't be afraid to leave this out.
The fact that it keeps holding is a great sign.
Don't know how. I see danger in yours.
Nvidia looks like it might be finally trying to come up off that dip. The SPY roared right back. Lots of China comments. They mainly sound pretty good, but... Come on, SPY. You're back into the trend here. Let's get that good dip buy coming in that high a day push. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Just like a spark that's
Disney in trouble.
can't make a stop. Can't
The Department of Justice probes Disney Fubo deal over competition concerns. Disney had a big red candle, now they're going green. What the hell's happening? Fubo's tanking. Disney's actually moving up from that. That would be funny if they block it and it's good for Disney that they blocked it. I thought it would cause some drop though. It obviously is for Fubo though. My word. Poor Fubo. I like how they go after Disney for competition concerns, but Microsoft can go out here and just buy whatever they want, whenever they want. And I can't believe that they allowed them to get Activision. MCD, McDonald's on the daily looks pretty fire. McDonald's looks like it's going to go up and make a new all-time high here, guys. This looks great. PA looks fantastic on a daily standpoint from Mickey D's. Mickey D's says, screw your tariffs. We're going to stay just as we were. They actually say, you know what? Now we can actually raise prices a little bit and blame the tariffs. I'm just kidding. Of course, if they get shit from China, they probably will a little bit, but probably not going to be as bad as other things. I don't like Disney, but that's kind of stupid. Usually when big companies have a merger, they drop. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know what you're saying there. Usually when there are mergers like that, the buying company can drop. In Disney's case here. So it makes sense that it would go up like you're saying. It just sounds fairly negative for them at the end of the day. Is SPY weak, Dexter said. It's been showing some weakness here over the past hour or so. Maybe I guess we could call it like 30 minutes. If it breaks under this key support here around 540.80, it's going to show that this, you know, support level and trend is not holding up. And it already tried to break under there with that weird news a minute ago. But I think we need to let it see what plays out here. It looks like pretty weak if you had to ask me, though. I was watching for a possible bounce back to the upside here off of this trend, but of course we did not see that happen. At least not yet. Maybe we'll see something play out here soon, but not looking good for that setup at the moment. SPY was up 3% on the day as well, which is fairly high for the SPY. Whisper sweet nothings in my ear. Come on, let's get it, SPY. Tesla moving very, very well. There we go. Tesla's getting it done, unlike the SPY. Love to see it, but... Alright, guys, we're probably going to call the stream here. I'm going to go grab some food. I feel like I'm dying today. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you guys later. Been a pretty fun trading day, I'd say. I like that SPY action. Too bad Besant was boring. That was kind of sad, but the SPY had some good action throughout the day today on the recovery here, and then even the move in the morning, pretty decent, but we'll be watching that key resistance coming up tomorrow around that high of day today and at 546. Keep your eyes on the tech stocks. Nvidia and Tesla are trying to point a little higher here, which could be helpful. Microsoft, Apple starting to dip though, so kind of offsetting. All right, have a great one. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to go grab some leftover Jack in the Box tacos. You guys know it. I'm just kidding. Maybe a breakfast sandwich is what we'll go for. I always eat... Here's what I eat for breakfast almost every morning. I eat this. Like every morning for breakfast. A Jimmy Dean sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. So I'm gonna go smash one of those. See you guys later.